Welcome, strangers, to Talkumentary, a show where we watch documentaries and then get together and talk about them. Says, who's the man that would risk his neck for another brother? Chef! Can you dig it? Who's that cat that won't cop out? Chef! Can you dig it? I can't say like that because the women singing it. Chef! Then it's what's that one? And they say this cat Shaft is a bad. Shut your mouth. Talking about Shaft.
What's going on, everybody? My friends, welcome to another episode of Talkumentary, where tonight, just like Mr. Billy D. Williams himself, we have fallen in love with ourselves. My goodness gracious, we are smitten. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff. I am your host. Today, I am joined, or let me put it this way. Today, I have the honor of presenting the Oscar for the baddest mother shut your mouth, Mr. King James himself. What's up, James?
What's up? How is everybody doing today?
Yeah, look around the room.
Look around the room.
Look at all these people. Man. This is an episode of with just King James and I. James is gonna use as much 1970s Harlem slang or whatever he can muster up that he can muster up today, because in celebration of Juneteenth, we have slipped on our favorite leather jackets. We've put on our nice and tight red bell-bottom trousers to take a look at a film that has a deep understanding of film history, specifically black cinema, and smoothly and eloquently portrays the importance of representation in media. That film is That Black Enough for You?
My grandmother told me that movies turned her dreams into something resembling stories. But the on-screen crushing of black hope was institutional.
When I was a kid, we had Stephen Fetchit, Willie Best, Buckwheat, but I still wanted to be them.
One decade answered the question, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or does it explode? This is the story about a group of artists that changed the culture forever.
These movies were about us.
That's a nice change.
The music. The style.
Is that black enough for you?
The heroes.
You want the black guy with you, because he's going to help you get out.
When Billy D. Williams came on, every woman in Hollywood hollered, ah!
I fell in love with myself. I said, my goodness gracious.
You see your role as a positive force or a negative one.
And when we made the film about the way things actually are. All of the artists, since I know them personally, are responsible people who are concerned about what is happening in the black community.
Movies is the stuff of fantasies. I needed a black cowboy.
First and foremost, I'm an artist.
You gotta walk in like it's yours.
They were proof that we were here, that we create culture, that we have voices, and that we will be heard.
It ain't, but it's going to be.
Yeah, is that black enough for you?
Is That Black Enough for You is a documentary film released in 2022. It examines the history, craft, and legacy of African American cinema with a focus on the films released in 1970s, using a ton of film clips and excerpts, news clippings, personal histories, personal interviews with some of Hollywood's legends like Sam Jackson, Whoopi Goldberg, Lawrence Fishburne, Margaret Avery, Harry Belafonte, Suzanne DePass, Lynn Turman, Billy D. Williams, and Daya. Is That Black Enough for You? Traces the evolution and revolution of black cinema from its origins to the impactful films of the 1970s. It's still a little new, James, so it hasn't seen any awards yet, but it is certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes with 100% tomato meter, 40 reviews, and 62% audience score with less than 50 ratings. What do you think of this?
I think this is, it started off with fun.
Yeah.
I thought, like, man, I remember these movies. I mean, wow, back in the day, everybody going to the shows, watching them, then playing on TV, and man, I mean, it brought back a lot of memories. Of course, I was probably only 10 years old, but still.
Yeah. See, that's why I thought it'd be interesting to talk to you about this, because, you know, this is so far removed from my, you know, purview, I guess, that, you know, I wasn't raised in the 70s because I wasn't born in the 70s, but I also wasn't raised on black cinema because I'm not a black man. So if you guys didn't know that, I know James and I sound like we could be brothers, but we are not. Well, kind of, right?
Well, yeah. we could say that, you know, we kind of look alike.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's the hair.
It's the hair. We both got beards, though. You know that. You know, hey.
Yours is much better than mine, though. This documentary was directed, written, and narrated by culture critic and historian Elvis Mitchell. Produced by a whole bunch of people, but the executive producers are Jennifer Sofio Hall, Kent Kubenya, Elvis Mitchell, and Giovanni Motla. I don't know. I'm not good at that. Streamed on Netflix. That stuff will be in our show notes. Let's get into it. Dig it.
Yeah, I can dig it. Solid, baby. You know what I'm saying? Solid. Give me those cheeks.
All right. So if there's really nothing to spoil on this one, so, you know, this is normally where I put in a spoiler alert. We're about to get into this one, so if you don't want the documentary spoiled, that's fine, but there's really nothing to spoil. This is very much it's kind of a timeline of things, how black cinema started, some of the, you know, the main or some of the big impactful films, how the black community was able to use filmmaking to tell some of their stories, whether it was through satire or through, you know, other genres, and then sort of, you know, into the world of blaxploitation and those kind of things. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about why we chose to watch Is That Black Enough for You this week. Well, this one was chosen because it's being released on the week of Juneteenth, which, of course, is a commemoration of the emancipation of the enslaved people in the United States. So some black history there. James, we considered doing another documentary before we chose this one. But since we recently covered the documentary 13th, you and I kind of had a conversation about, do we do another, you know, we were going to do something that was more based on like civil rights and slavery. What were your feelings on that? Why did we switch to this one?
Because we have done a lot of, you know, black slavery, it was a lot more of a upbeat, one of the upbeat from the most, more down, like, I mean, it's meaningful, but the continual talking about these input slavery, how the man put you down and you didn't have no rights and this and that. And why continue on going the same direction? Just mix it up a little bit, you know. Yeah. Give it a little upbeat. Yeah. So that's why we make chose this one. Right.
And I think too, like it's not only, and what we sort of talked about is it's not only about talking through some of the history and the, you know, some of the awful things that happen, but there's also black things to celebrate in Black culture, and cinema is one of those things.
Right.
You know, when I watched this film, you know, there's very few of these films that I even recognize, let alone ever have seen. You know, so this going through some of Elvis Mitchell's timeline for these films and everything is going to be a little difficult for me because I don't have this timeline in my head like you might. But it was good, man. These films looked good. They looked entertaining. They looked powerful. So, I mean, obviously, with the technology of the time, some of the films looked, you know, kind of cheesy, but you know, so did every film in the 70s.
Yeah, but that cheesy look, man, that was basically the positive thing about it. It's just that I mean, they play these movies, man, and I got a friend at my other job. His name is Terrence. And
what's up, Terrence?
What's up, Terrence? You know, Terrence is a cool cat.
Yeah, I like Terrence.
Yeah, he does a lot of black movies. He sends me little clips and stuff, and I just laugh because we have a joy out of it, you know, because being from today and then looking back on those movies, and then you see. Like the guy that gets shot. Like I watched the guy on the roof. He's running across the roof, and then he gets shot. Pop. You know. And plus, that's another thing. You got a gun, the 22.
Yeah.
And it shoots 6 times. You know it's a revolver. Yep. But he just shot that guy 18 times. And then he shot him in the back, and he falls out. He doesn't die. Oh no. Oh, that's too quick. I'm sorry that I didn't go to the store and get those rice cakes. And then he goes on and on. And he gets and then finally, on the last, after a minute, I think it's a minute, and then he gets ready to die, but he has the last word. And tell Mom, it's her. And then he passes out there. My goodness.
That's not how people die.
People die. And man.
Did you have predictions for this one when we landed on this one? And you know, is that black enough for you? What did you think when you heard that title and kind of looked into what it might be?
Well, when I first heard like black enough, I said, okay, now what's this about? No, we said that we're not going to do that, but we.
It does.
It does sound like it's going to be some type of civil rights talk, but it wasn't. You know, it was more of the movie genre of black people. You know, where they first started. So it caught me off guard a little bit.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the title. It came from, and I wonder if I have it in my notes. I don't think so. Cotton Goes to Harlem, I believe, which is the line that was taken from. And then that kind of, you know, is that black enough for you? Kind of morphed and changed throughout the years and kind of, you know, as in what it means. And one of the things they talked about in the film was that title could morph its meaning to sort of change with the times. You know, is that black enough for you? Almost like it's a question, and then it becomes sort of like a statement.
Right, exactly.
And which I thought was pretty neat. Did you have any thoughts on that or on that title? Yeah,
that title, my thoughts was exactly the same as yours. But being from where I come from, my neighborhood, you know, that is just a simple phrase, the hood, which simply means the neighborhood. It could be anywhere. But anyway, so, I mean, simply saying that saying, we use that saying in a lot of different phrases. Maybe not necessarily that particular saying sometimes, but to take one word and say it like man, this word man. You know, walk up to somebody, they step in your shoe, you say, man. If somebody got a nice suit on, you say, man.
Yeah.
You know, or you seen an accident happen, you think, man. You
man,
man, what happened here, man? But you don't need to add the rest of the words because everybody gets the feeling. And in the movies that play, they predict what the phrase means. So, yeah, I mean, it's just incredible, man. And when I think about that, stuff says like that, You never think about it till somebody bring it up to you. Like,
Right.
oh yeah, we do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very diverse phrase that can be used for a lot of different things and to get a lot of different points across. Let's get into some of our favorite, least favorite details about the movie. First, here's a quick and smooth synopsis for the documentary. Elvis Mitchell creates a wonderful documentary that melts together film history and a true passion for Black cinema. In Is That Black Enough For You?, this documentary examines the craft and power of cinema from a perspective often overlooked: the African-American contribution to films released from the landmark era of the 1970s. It is a deep dive into the impact that point of view had on movies as well as popular culture. Famous Hollywood personalities speak about their own perspectives on this era of cinema and the things that inspired them to get into the craft they're in, and provide insight into the history of Black representation in media and the cultural impact of witnessing unapologetic Blackness. Which I thought was really kind of cool, the way that it kind of became, as you're watching the history of cinema, to when at the beginning of cinema, the Black person was very much represented in one way,
Right.
which was the servant, the help, or the fearful, or the kind of pathetic, or, it was always the Black character that would go, Missa, and then he'd run away, and
Mr. Johnson, look out! Whoa!
Yeah, and he'd run away scared, and but the 70s is when it really started to turn around. Go ahead.
Okay, I had to add to that though. Even to this day, even though it changed a little bit, but even to this day, in my neighborhood, when they play those shows where somebody's walking along and they hear this sound, first thing they do, every Black person I know said, "Now look, watch they go over there and see what that sound is." But if it was us, we out of here.
Okay.
I even saw a commercial. I saw this little sitcom real quick.
Yeah.
Where is a mixed couple, white dude and the Black lady with a little daughter. They're sitting on the couch and they heard a sound upstairs. And the white guy gets up and said, "What's that sound? Did you hear that?"
He runs right toward it.
It goes, "Let me go look at this." And they flash them back and forth. So as soon as the sound happened, they flash to her, silence, quiet, no noise. And they flash back to him and said, "Let me go see." They flash back to her. She's still looking. And then he goes up there. "I think there's something up there." And then he turns around. There's nobody there.
And she's gone.
She's gone. Her, the baby, everybody's gone. I'm like, ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So what you're kind of getting at is that there's still some of that, whether it's a stereotype, even if it's an accepted one, even if it's one that, but cinema, media, does play an impact on how people create their own stereotypes. I know we talked about that in another one of our episodes where, you kind of, a lot of times you can base your own stereotypes based on what the media and what popular culture is representing you as. So, I don't know that you are necessarily the type of person that's going to run the opposite way from a noise, but you might joke that you are, or you might actually be. I don't know. What are your feelings on that? Do you feel like
I'm gone, man?
You really?
I'm gone.
Okay.
It all depends though now, because that's just the show. But I'm just saying, if we're all equal, like out there, you there, and out there, if we hear this out, I think we both gonna run. We're gonna go stand and look at that, unless it's one of our loved ones. We gotta stay in protection and all that stuff. But
I don't know, man. I'm maybe it's stereotypical of myself, but I'm kind of the one that's gonna go see what that was. But
not me,
not you.
It all depends on what it is. And I was, familiarity with words, with sounds, and all that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And because I'm old now, so I don't feel like running anywhere.
Yeah.
So I might be walking like, let me just walk a little bit faster to the left.
Yeah.
I'm talking stuff already. Hey, I could dig that, boy. I saw.
Dig it,
boy.
To me, So let's get into some of our like standout moments. Some things we liked, maybe didn't like about the film. To me, this was a super interesting look into this world of cinema. One that like I said, I'm so far removed from. This is like, to me, uncovering a whole new world of films that I didn't even know existed. Like I'm aware that there's sort of black cinema and things, but it's just not one that I've dove into. To me, it was almost like when you find out that, for example, like the in Thailand, the like Bollywood world, how there's it's such a huge thing, and there's all these films. But if you're from where we're from, and you're, unless you actually try to go and search these things out, you're not gonna get it. Well, it kind of reminded me of that. Like, oh my gosh, like look at all these films that were coming out at the same time. Films that are considered to be iconic, cornerstones of American cinema. It's like, it's not American cinema necessarily. Like, it's white American cinema that, whether it's The Godfather or, those style of movies, these other movies were coming out at the exact same time. So, and a lot of them look really cool. Yeah. So I'm not saying that I handpicked this documentary for you necessarily, but as I was watching, I was going, man, I'll bet you James is having a good time with this. If he's watched any of these movies and seen some of those,
man.
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at these shows, just to look at them, like all the action scenes, the high flying, because everything that in black cinema was, when they did it with like dramatic. I mean, things were so like, if you go jump 5 feet, I'm jumping 10 feet. That type of the accent that's played in it, man, was like cool as can be. Everybody wanted to be that person, especially in these time and eras when through black film you were able to express yourself without being jumped on or any type of thing like that. They was through humor, which was like the beginning, through a lot of humor and stuff like that. They said jokes and did things that you would normally do in society and was able to get away with it and call it humor.
Right.
And that was a good thing. And then from there, they kind of like kept going, and then they got into the action heroes. The first black action thing sounds crazy already. That's not my bag. But anyway.
Yeah.
The first black action hero, was Shaft.
Yeah.
That's what they played, a black private eye detective.
Well, yeah, and they said, when that came out, that was one of the few times that this was one of the first times that you saw in film a black man walking down the street with his head held high as the hero, as the sex symbol, as the just the straight up protagonist with all the machismo, all of the, he was as cool as could be.
Right. Cool. You couldn't stop him. You couldn't stop him. Like, everybody wanted to be like that guy.
You either wanted to be him or you wanted to be with him.
Right. Hey, Shaft, baby, what's up, man? I could do that solid, man. Hey, my name is King James. I'm rolling with your dog. Well, not dog. They didn't use the word dog back in the day. They used the word cat.
Cat, yeah.
Ain't that a surprise? Today they use the word dog. What's up, dog?
Yeah.
But back in the days, like, what's up, cat? Cool as can be. That's a change. I just noticed that not too long ago.
Like kitten, like meow.
No.
No. It'd be like the puppet from Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. Meow. Yep. Oh, that's gonna be like on my thing. It's on here now. You said something about it, but I'm gonna mention it later on.
Yeah.
You got to ask me about it. Sesame Street. But,
yeah, the guy from Sesame Street.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Well, I might go
for it. Why not? Let's jump around. Who gives a shit?
We gonna jump all over. Okay, now I'm going with this right here, right quick. Jeff might give me a little room since I'm the only cat in here. Well, Jeff's his other cool cat.
Or a dog.
Or dog. What do you want to call this, you people?
We're not going to say that. No,
I'm going to say you people.
What do you mean, you people?
You know, you people. The one on the way. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
You bad mother, shut your mouth.
Bad mother, shut your mouth.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Sesame Street, hit it.
Sesame Street, now. Okay. I want to hold off on that, but I'm gonna go with first. Let's go with Shaft real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about Shaft.
Richard Roundtree.
Let's stroke the shaft real quick.
Well, you know. See, there we go. We better stop playing, man.
Oh, all right.
Okay, Richard Roundtree.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this guy right here played in. After he played Shaft, the hard-hitting detective, take no cash, take no that, whooping a lot of ASS. So
shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. He played in Bonanza.
Oh, no kidding?
Yep, played in Bonanza. He hosted in the specials, a special thing called a UPN special for Cop Files. He did a lot of things,
Yeah.
But that was just him. And then you go on down to Trouble Man. Trouble Man was a guy that was a detective himself that played in like a pro. He had to prove his innocence that he was getting, he got set up and stuff like that. So he had to go through, all the bad kick butt and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But what gets me with these actors is that each one of these actors, we could say Shaft, Richard Roundtree, Trouble Man, Robert Hooks, played by Robert Hooks. Superfly was played by Ron O'Neal.
Yeah.
Who else is it?
He was cool, man.
Yeah, that was a cool dude.
His hair, that was so good.
Yeah, I had my hair like that.
You did?
Oh heck yeah, man! That's one thing about being black, and I'm not trying to brag on it because it's just what it is.
Go ahead, brag it up.
Cornrows.
Yeah.
I had the Superfly look. I had the Jerry curl. I had
Soul Glow.
Soul Glow, not the Soul Glow, because mine was better than Soul Glow. I had my own concoction.
Okay. All right.
And also
a mix of petroleum jelly and like cooking grease, or what was it?
It was pomade.
Okay. Yep.
Pomade with a little bit of the I forgot what it was right now. I can't think. When you get old like me, I'm still cool.
Brill cream.
Brill cream.
No, nothing like that. Okay.
So yeah, also the Angela Danger's afro, that's what I call it. But the big afro.
Yeah.
Rock all those styles. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Okay, sorry about Superfly, Ron O'Neal.
Yep.
He was not only an actor, but he was a screenwriter and he was also a director. Mm-hmm. He played in the movie Red Dawn, which surprised me. Red Dawn is a new movie.
Yeah.
More up to date. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
So he played in that. I mean, a lot of these actors played back in the day. They got good, even though they didn't get high paying jobs.
Or a lot of accolades back then.
Right.
Yeah.
But they still.
Some of them did though. I mean, you think about like Sidney Poitier.
Yeah, Sidney Poitier.
Poitier.
Yeah.
He got some accolades.
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
did. This guy was real accolade, and I'm not trying to say this in a bad way.
Yeah.
But since he was not considered as being like a Black American,
mm-hmm.
and I think that was another thing that pushed him up higher, because when America look at people, they don't only look at just being Black in America. They look also where you're coming from.
Mm.
You could take that with the president of the United States. He was Black, but he didn't come from just being Black in America. He had like foreign parents and stuff like that, But anyway, that's something else. But
yeah. So
go ahead, Jeff.
Well, just to kind of interject there, you're talking about a lot of different actors from a lot of different films and things. One of the things that I was impressed about with this film, this documentary, there are like over 100 different films in this movie that he references, and the way that they were able to edit and cut and tell the story, and it wasn't just, here's this film from 1971 and here's this film from 1972. They used a story. Elvis Mitchell, used what felt like effortless and smooth storytelling and transitions between them, where they would just, the way they could cut those together and put like 5 different movies into the same conversation piece, I guess, and just flow right into the next one and detail how each of the characters or actors or directors directly relate to what comes next, and why some of the decisions that were made from these directors or filmmakers led to the next filmmaker being even more revolutionary, and pushing those things. That was awesome. Like, I know that, like, finding the right clip for, each piece and then putting it together and trying to tell the story over the top, that must have taken so much work. Like, that is a lot of work to go through this giant library of films and be able to tell that kind of a compelling story through in a documentary, to try to encapsulate the stories that they were trying to get across when they made these movies. Right. And not only that, but what the political climate, what the social climate was at the time, to be able to do that. They talked about things like, at the beginning, it was kind of all over the place with the films that they were covering, all the way back to the silent film era. There was a lot of blackface going on.
A lot of blackface.
Yeah. There was a very specific, we talked about this, very specific stereotype for the black man or the black woman that was allowed to be portrayed on film for a long time. I did find it interesting, and I would appreciate your take on this. One thing that they said was, the older films prior to the 70s made it almost to where black guys did not want to or refused to wear tuxedos.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have any experience with that? Is that something is that kind of before your time, maybe?
That was before my time, but I understood it, I understood.
I understand it too. I feel like why?
Because me and you both understand it the same way.
Yeah.
How they portrayed them as subhumans, as always servant.
Yep.
Always wore the black bow tie, never wore the white bow tie. I never wore something other than a butler uniform. So that made you feel like, when I grow up, I'm never going to wear that type of stuff. I'm not going to look like that.
Right.
With Samuel Jackson, though, when he saw the film Stymie and stuff, he said, even though he said how they betrayed us was weird, but he still wanted to play. He wanted to be that Stymie. He wanted to be in films.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was neat.
He said Buckwheat and Stymie and all those, he goes, but we still wanted to be him because we were being, and that shows you the power of representation too.
Right.
Because the one person on screen that looks at all like me, I want to be that. But
Rambo?
It could be so much more. Yeah. Well, I look just like Rambo, my hair and my physique most of the time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for that, James.
No problem.
And to kind of stay in the original, I don't want to say original, the even earlier than the 70s, the documentary pointed out and noted a lot of the kind of casual racism that's been in a lot of the most like beloved and most popular films and characters of all time. He talked about Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, like the gloves that they wore and how they dressed being very reminiscent of minstrel shows, which I wasn't even, are you familiar with what that is? They talked about it.
I know he talked about it, but I didn't know.
Okay, so I had to look it up because I wasn't really familiar with what a minstrel show was.
Good for you, man.
Was a form of American theatrical entertainment that was popular in the early 19th to 20th centuries, that was founded on the comic enactment of racial stereotypes. This is where blackface comes from. When white people with their faces painted black would caricature the singing and dancing of slaves. And they would do full shows, like theatrical shows, I guess.
Yes,
that,
okay.
You know, where these white people would put on blackface, you know, and they would purposefully leave a large area around their mouth, you know, clear to represent sort of larger lips, and you know, and then they'd put on white gloves, and for some reason in these minstrel shows, well, then that kind of went into some of the most famous characters like Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny, where it's very clear that that was what they were portraying, which hopefully that, you know, you hate to just call everything racist, but there may have been some basis to start there anyway.
Right. I'd say that was interesting, you know, very interesting, because as a kid, you know, my mother kept us pretty much. I mean, you got the speech, where you should go, what you shouldn't do, who you should talk to, all that stuff. But I watched Bugs Bunny a lot, and Mickey Mouse too. But it never occurred to me until watching this, that that's what they were doing.
Right.
You know, to this day, I'm kind of happy I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I looked at it as just regular cartoon. So I'm still want to think like that for now, but I know the true meaning. But
yeah.
You know.
But, you know, there's certain things where, you know.
This is something else. I didn't understand. That was wild.
Yeah. You know, and to just finish up that piece, it was crazy when they said even like Fred Astaire, who's known for his dancing and stuff.
Wow.
They said he danced differently when he was around the black, and the only black people in his films were always the help.
Right.
They were always doing some kind of like labor in the film, and he danced differently. He danced more like rhythmic and differently, and like when he was around the black characters in his films, which was fucking crazy to me.
Yeah,
like,
but that's still typical, you know, because if you think about it, as I watched the end of this, what was it, John Travolta, you know, took the some of the music from the black era, you know, where it was all hip and wore the pants and had a little walk and everything, and he put it in. He added that to his film, which was like saying the black one was good, and it was, you know, hip down. But if I make it black, use that and make it white, then it becomes something real to America, even though it's been playing all the time.
Yeah,
you know. So
yeah, it like the great white savior kind of deal. Like, here I am and once I get a hold of it, then all of a sudden it's going to be popular. It's going to be you know, relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that played like a lot of things that played by black back in the day, they didn't see a lot of it. They didn't see like the music. They didn't understand that till later that the music was hitting the charts. You know,
right?
It took white. Well, I'm gonna say this: the white society. I'm gonna say it like that. To do that, to recognize music as hitting the charts,
right?
For them to realize, oh, okay, and then they start doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, and you know that kind of leads us into the area in the film. Maybe that's a good segue to move into the sort of the blaxploitation piece of the film, where they talked about, you know, when white filmmakers make a black movie and it's popular in black culture and it pays the white filmmakers the money, and and the black actors and whatnot get much less than the white filmmakers and actors and whatnot, that's exploitation or blaxploitation. You know, so when you make a movie like Blackula or you know, some of these other ones,
good movie.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it, but I'll trust you on that.
Oh man, you're gonna laugh.
Yeah. You know, then that's exploitation. It was almost like it reminded me of like a politician that kind of acts like, you know, that sort of like caters to a certain culture in order to get their votes. Well, it's the same kind of thing, you know. Well, if I make this movie, this, you know, Western where the black guy is the lead, and I go and put it in black communities and they eat it up, they're going to pay a bunch of money to come see my movie. You know, it's exploitation of the black community, you know. So I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that stuff?
Well, I agree.
Okay.
I have to agree with that, because if you look at the whole thing, you know, why not make money off of these people? You know, and I hate to say it like that. I mean, you're going to make money today. I'm going offline here, but you're going to make money. You're going to use anything you can. I'm sorry that happened, but a lot of black actors were underpaid. Mm-hmm. A lot of black actors was used, you know, and I think even though they knew that, they still want to be in these movies. They still want to be a part of something. Mm-hmm. And it's a sad situation that, you know, but they didn't get more notice. You know what I mean? I don't know how to even put it.
Yeah, and I think it's not so much that someone's making money off of the culture. I think it's more along the lines like, you know, some equality would probably be nice, but on the other side of it, it's also, you know, there's black filmmakers. There's as we saw all over this film, there's black filmmakers. There's black writers. There's black directors. There's black, you know, black producers and whatnot that are trying to make movies, but they just don't get the budget for it in big Hollywood. Right. You know, so it's not an exploitation for a black film crew or filmmaker to go make a black movie for a black community and get paid from the black community. But at the same time, no, I don't know. I don't know that we need to go into that any further, but yeah, so there you go. James, what else stood out to you, man? What
Roscoe Freeman, man.
Tell me about Roscoe Freeman.
Roscoe Freeman. Willie Dynamite.
Willie Dynamite.
A pimp.
Yep.
In the New York Bronx, trying to make it big.
Yep.
This guy, man, I'm
telling you, his coat was cool, man.
Coolest, man, got the car. If you watch the movies, this car was fine. I mean, the detectives were jealous of his car. This dude was a bad summer buck, boy. He had everything going on.
That might be the first summer buck that you put on our show, man. If you guys don't know, James is famous for saying summer buck, and I don't think we've had one of those yet on our show. If I'm wrong, tell me, but you know, I think that might have been the first one. So congratulations, James.
Oh,
keep going.
Well, this guy, I thought, okay, man, he's a dude. You know, even I myself thinking, because I'm older and I'm watching it now, I'm thinking that the black dudes, they play these movies, they getting down. I mean, I like them. Mm-hmm. I like to throwing the people over the table. I like the heavy talk, man. What's up with you? What's your bag, dude? What you digging down? You know, I know you know all that talking and jiving and stuff. I love it. I could still use the words today. I wish we could bring some of them back. But when I look at this guy, guy that played Willie Dynamite named Roscoe Orman, I checked him out to see what was going on with him. I didn't realize he played in Sanford and Son.
Oh yeah,
Kojak, Law and Order, Crosby.
Yeah, but everyone's been in Law and Order.
Okay. Sex and the City.
Okay.
The Wire.
It's a good show.
Yeah, The Wire is a good show.
A real good show.
Most recently, he played in HBO The Night Of. Yep. And the most thing that surprised me, now this is the surprise kicker here of me, because I never realized, I never put these two together.
Yep.
Willie Dynamite and Gordon on
From
Sesame Street. What the heck?
Yeah, they said they made a joke that after he got off the set of Willie Dynamite, he went around the corner and saw a big yellow bird standing in the street.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's a good joke.
Yeah, that's
42 seasons, man.
That's a long time
That's
to be
a
on a show. I mean,
time.
good for him, man.
Right.
That's a steady paycheck right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
You know, one of the first films that they discussed having an impact on everything and the way that the main character was sort of the main protagonist, the main hero, I guess, was George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. They brought that up a few different times throughout the film, and how it had such an impact. The main character was a black man, but it wasn't written for a black man. George Romero decided to fill that role with a black man, and I apologize, I don't remember the guy's name. But it's crazy to think that that was a big deal, but it was at the time. You know, the setup and subject matter of the film could have very easily gone to where, you know, he was portrayed as like the scared guy, because the Night of the Living Dead, there's like zombies and things like that. So, you know,
I've never seen that show yet.
Yeah. Where, you know, he was scared, or he was running, and he was the one, you know, the typical tropes of the time for the black guy. But no, he was the guy going, I'm the badass, you know, and, but then, he was the one, then he ended up getting shot. You remember that, where he got shot by the group of white guys and they're like,
oh yeah. Oh my goodness.
They shoot him and they're like they got him like right in the head or whatever. And they're just like, well, you know, he probably, I don't know if he was infected, but you know, whatever. It's like,
right. After he done saved everybody's lives and stuff.
Yeah. He just got shot by them. And I'm trying to remember, there was kind of it's the problem. I watched this like last week. So now
Same here.
Now I'm struggling to remember the sort of the tie that they made to the cultural climate at the time. But I know that they were saying that it was very impactful to see that happen in that way, which was interesting to me.
It's interesting to me too to see that even though you can be the hero of a show, but being black, you still will not win. And he got at the end of that show, after he saved all those lives, he saved white lives. White lives. White lives matter. Black lives matter. I don't know why I said that. Don't pay me no attention. I don't dig that. But it's
your life matters, James.
Thanks. Your life matters too, Jeff.
Thanks, man.
All right. They shot him in the head, like you said, and burned him. That was the last scene of him.
Oh yeah,
they burned.
And they
him.
said there was something very powerful about seeing them throw his body onto a fire.
Of course.
Yeah.
We both know.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna go on that route today, but wow, it's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Can we just jump on something else here about the women?
Whew.
Man, talking about women in this shows.
Good Lord.
Right. They was dressed to kill, baby. Had platform shoes on, afro, kicking butts, shotguns, just doing everything, a little bit of, I won't say Bruce Lee.
Cleopatra
Jones.
Sir.
Yes,
sir, my Lord.
Yeah, her name was Tamara Dotson. That's who played that.
Yeah. And then what was the lady after her? I'm trying to remember her name.
What did she play?
She played in like a ton of movies.
Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
Yeah, you said a ton of movies. Pam Grier. Yeah, that was the girl. She played in Foxy Brown and Jackie Brown. Coffee. Coffee was a trip.
Coffee. That's the one I was trying to think.
1973.
That was her. That was her big role.
Right. That was a tripped out movie. She was hooked out on drugs. End up kicking the drug habit, but during that kicking the drug, it showed it showed blacks that a person that could be down, but not only that, she came out of that. She fought back for her life. She fought back for her sister that accidentally got killed.
Right.
She did a lot of things, and she ended up coming on top on the end.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a pretty good.
That looked cool. Have you seen that movie?
I seen a part of it. I didn't see all of it, but I mostly watched the Foxy Brown and Jackie Brown because I was a male and I love to look at the ladies. And boy, she was a bad mama zamba, and she didn't stop. Boy.
Yeah.
Yep. And Claudine, that was also in there too.
Yeah.
Claudine was.
Yep.
Claudine, even though it was a movie where it's still a kick butt movie, but not. It was more of a dramatic type role where she played a mother that raised kids in Harlem.
Right.
And she had to beat the welfare system and the streets for her kids. And she won at the end.
Yeah. Very, very dramatic, very kind of moving film. And,
right.
A lot and just portraying the black woman and the black family and in a real light, but
real
also
world,
but also not as being victimized, but also not playing the victim, sort
exactly.
of, standing up and doing what you have to do to take care of your family, which is a very common thing in, the black community and in a lot of communities,
right.
especially when you look at, I haven't seen the movie, but from what I could tell from this film, it looked like maybe a single mother with a bunch of kids.
Right.
And, that's something that we've seen. Yeah. And, so it's good to see that represented, especially at that time, It
is good to see that represented. It also, a lot of those, a lot of people wanted to be a lot of blacks want to be the people that played in these movies because these guys, these ladies, they stood up. Mm-hmm. They represented like, I'm speaking out type thing.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't get a lot of real movie time with the big things, but they still was a voice. It was like they were a voice. Fun, outspoken.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yep. So was there a lot of had you seen a lot of these movies?
Yep.
Like fully? Like what were some of your favorites that they showed that you really remember that had an impact on you? And I'll full disclosure, besides like, I think Shaft, I don't think that I've seen a single one of these.
Really?
Yeah. I was trying, when we were, of course they showed like Blazing Saddles and whatnot. And that at one point, and yes, I've seen that. And, but I'm trying to think if there was any others that I had actually seen. And I don't think there was some that I want to see, a lot of them that I want to see, and I wrote down a couple of them, but I'm interested in, was there any that you saw on there that you were like, oh man, that was my show? Because you were born in what?
I was born in 62.
62. So you were still a young man when these were coming, but you were old enough to probably have seen a lot of them or have watched them since.
Yeah, I watched
in the 80s or
in the 80s.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's when I came back. Shaft was like, I know they said Shaft is the number one show that I watched.
Well, it doesn't get much cooler than that.
Nope. And when it came, they bring it back out again in what was it, 2000? I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. And with Sam Jackson.
No, they bring on. Oh no, I'm talking about a different one. Sorry, I guess some of the good ones, but Superfly. Superfly was the one I'm talking about. Came out with Trevor Jackson, should I say? Came out in 2018. And,
yeah,
I mean, if you get a chance, Jeff, you should check that out. And then, if anyone get a chance, check out Superfly with the Ron, what's the name? Ron O'Neal. That's the first one, and then compare it to the one of the 2018 and see if the genres match and how much difference it is and stuff like that. I kind of find that fun to watch old movies brought back and see what's going on, even though it didn't get as much play as it should have, but it was still good.
Yeah. So you watched Shaft. What about some of these others? Were you a Superfly fan? Were you
Of course.
What about so the ones that I wrote down Watermelon Man. Talk to me about Watermelon Man.
I didn't watch Watermelon Man, man.
No. So
let's see.
So what I wrote down about it is a super bigoted white man wakes up one morning and realizes he's black. He gets to see firsthand what it's like to be a black man. It's a comedy with some serious messages. I kind of thought it looked fun. I don't know. Having never seen it, I suppose it could be problematic in some ways, but is that one that you'd seen or heard of?
Nope. Only when I heard this one. You know what? I'm going to watch that. I am. I really am. I'm going to watch that because I find that hilarious.
What about Sweet Sweetback's badass song?
How did it go?
All right. So they talked about this one being kind of revolutionary. After saving a Black Panther from some racist cops, a black male prostitute goes on the run from the man with the help of the ghetto community and some disillusioned Hell's Angels. So this is the one where he was running, and they said something along the lines of he was running for his life. Do you remember that at all?
No.
You want to go back and watch the documentary again?
No, I remember I remember what you're saying, but I don't. When I said no, I mean I don't remember that movie.
I think they mentioned that it may have even gotten pulled. I may be misremembering this, but maybe it got
too much
taken down for a while or something like that. Yep. I don't know.
I can't remember because, like I said, we watched this documentary and it's been like a moment. Mm-hmm. But I do remember slight things that were said that was interesting. Like one of the lines I thought was very interesting, and I thought it was so true, is a black man with a broom can go anywhere.
Oh yeah,
and with a smile, he's invisible.
Yep.
I thought, man, that's a weird. That actually got to the government. The government actually was thinking about, whoa, wait just a minute. I can't remember the movie though.
I apologize because I was paying more attention to the movie than I was my notes at the time. But the oh boy, they were talking about the film that was made that was kind of a spy film. That was but it's the one that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a really neat idea that this guy who's talking about extortion and all this stuff, and then he's getting in trouble for those things in real life for making the movie about getting in trouble for those things. Right.
I mean, he said that I believe it's the same one that we said. Him and his friends' names are in the CIA database somewhere written down.
Yep.
But that phrase, man, if you think about that phrase, it is the truest phrase you can do. I thought about that. I said, I wonder what would happen if I literally got a dust broom, not working for the city, and just go downtown at a certain time and just start sweeping. You know what? No one would even think anything about it.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's changed at all. Maybe it's my naivety thinking this, but does that have to do? And at one point, I'm sure that there was more truth to that. But I wonder if anyone went down to the courthouse or something pushing a broom, would they be questioned? I don't know. Probably not.
Probably not. But I tell you one thing: if they come down to our job pushing a broom,
we're gonna know.
We're gonna know.
Well, it's because we work with them.
Well, we work with everybody. Hey, what, you volunteering or something, dude? What's going on here?
Who are you? Thanks for your help, but
right. Yeah. So where you going? I'm about to jump over this table right quick and smooth slide right underneath and take you out.
Yeah. Slide across the hood of my car. And, come out the
another
other
good
side.
scene.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Superfly.
Are these films? I just went up like 10 octaves. Are these films?
Yeah, you get that in those movies too.
Are these films?
What's up, Daddy?
Gross. I
can't wait for somebody call me Daddy.
I didn't.
You got to
like
be
that.
a female now. Give me some of those cheeks, baby.
Gross, James.
That's a phrase in there.
So are these movies? Are these films? Are they streaming anywhere? Like, is this? this might sound super, again, naive of me, but are these films on streaming networks? Do you know?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen in 2000 when the Superfly came out, but just like anything, when you start a little bit, then they start playing more of that type of thing, and then
start bringing it up in your algorithm or whatever.
It brings them all up. So then you watch some of them, and then
I'll have
it's
to
over
look.
with.
I'm interested. I want to look in some of the popular streaming, whether it's Amazon or Netflix or whatever, and start looking up some of these and see what pops up. I'd be interested to check some of these out. Another thing that was interesting to me was the that we didn't talk about was the X rating. So how they spoke about, Van Peebles basically adopting the only non-copywritten symbol for movie ratings, which was X, and sort of adopted it for his films. And, one of the early films got an X rating simply because they portrayed a black man having the quote unquote audacity to have sex with a white woman on film. like, come on. And they're like, no, this is too unheard of, too unspeakable to show on, on film.
On regular TV. Can't let America see that.
No, like how whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. They kind of owned that rating and we're like, fine, we're going to make it triple X. And
I thought that was kind of cool though. I thought that was kind of cool. It was a good way to get out there without being bothered.
Right.
So I thought that was cool. I especially thought the part where Sidney Poitier slapped the white lady, and I couldn't believe that he slapped her. And it was literally a block in the movie where you see nothing.
They literally took a pair of scissors and cut the film reel and then taped it back together.
Yeah, and then she just rubbing her face. Yeah. What did this happen?
Yeah, who was it? Sam Jackson?
Samuel Jackson,
Yeah, okay, so it was Sam Jackson. I couldn't remember who. But he said something like, I leaned to my mom and said, what happened?
I think she slapped her.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure she just got slapped.
Yeah, she just got slapped. She got slapped. I mean, wow.
Good for him. I want to find that little piece of film. I'll bet you. I'll bet that little slice of film is probably worth so much money if someone has it. Like that little piece that got cut out.
It just goes to show you though. I'm glad I live today to see that. Now, if that was to happen, there would be no cuts in that.
No. Why would there be?
That's how far we have come far. Even though we still live in some rules back here that you don't know about, but we are way further than that. So
now they'll show
America.
Now they'll show anyone beating anybody up.
Right. Except for the Bali films you talked about, and I thought what you said about the Bali films and how we don't really get them like that. I thought that was a perfect representation of the black films and stuff like that. That was perfect.
Yeah, you're almost like, it's almost like a different world,
right?
Right. But it's the sad part is it's in the same country as ours,
right?
Where that the Thai films and whatnot are a completely different country, and not even have access necessarily.
Yep, and that's another whole story by itself. If you ever watched any of the karate films, any of the
kung fus
and stuff, there's not one white person hardly in them, and there's no black people in them. It's all just that race, and people love it.
Yeah,
and I watch them all the time. I like that kickbook flying over and stuff, but I also like what was his name?
Well, Americans,
Jim Kelly, I think it was.
Americans aren't the only one with stereotypes. There are stereotypes all around.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
racism.
It's just like they didn't really care. They just made their movie and then just put it out there. And if you want to watch it, you can watch it. If you don't, you don't. And I kind of like that too. But today is today.
So today's movies, there is a more representation in black cinema, and there's still to what I understand, still a little bit of a subculture, I guess, of black cinema. Do you agree? Like there's some more mainstream movies, like with Jordan Peele putting out movies and whatnot that are, but I still think, I know when I was in the Navy, for example, I had friends from all over the country and all over the world, really. And I was exposed to a lot of things that I hadn't been. And they're talking about movies that they grew up watching or that they watch that I had never even heard of, and the one that keeps coming to my head, and you're going to laugh when I say this, but the one that keeps coming to my head is Love and Basketball.
Oh,
so that's a new-ish movie. I mean, it's not new, but it's not from the 70s, but it comes from a line of films, I think they're still kind of a hidden subculture of black cinema that is maybe not as exposed to mainstream media as
right, like Candy. Candy's about a bunch of black ladies, gangster women. Nick Cannon, he played in a lot of them, like Drum Roll. Who else is that brings out a lot of black films today? Even got black sitcoms. He plays as a woman.
Oh, Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry makes a lot of black movies.
Yep.
Let's see. There's some more that I can't really think of right now.
Well, I think it's interesting though, because they're like, even if you go to Netflix or one of the streaming services, there is a black cinema category.
Yes, right.
And if I click on that, more often than not, I've never heard of those movies. Now, is that my fault? I don't know. But they're not necessarily, unless it is Jordan Peele level where you have a ton of money to put into advertising. You maybe aren't getting the same level of, not necessarily the same quality of, but the same level of like merchandising and marketing and things like that.
Right. I think it's the same interest though. Just sometimes what appealed to black people appeals just to blacks. And a lot of people don't, like, that doesn't even register with them. It doesn't, the jive talk or the quick words or stuff like that is just.
Well, even things like family dynamics and whatnot, when that's being represented on screen, what is it like in the life of a black family? You may have a different type of family dynamic than what the white family typically has. Not that they say that there's no crossover ever, because we know that there is, but in general, the appeal is going to be more specific to, the black family.
Right. The crossover with that one is, I say this, the one that I can actually look at, a black cinema that people probably don't realize is the black cinema, was Fresh Prince. That was like a black cinema.
That's interesting that you bring
Crosby.
that up. Yeah, so that's, I was going to say that's interesting that you bring that up, because some of the most iconic sitcoms, though, TV sitcoms, were centered around the black family. So I hadn't even thought about that. You've got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you've got Family Matters, you've got The Cosby Show, you've got Sanford and Son, you've got, and I could probably go on. And those are some of the most well-known sitcoms, the ones that, I even grew up watching all the time. And those were centered around black families. So I wonder what it was about the sitcom versus the film that kind of was easier to market to, a middle-class white family like mine, that made it. And I don't have an answer to that, and I wonder if you have any thoughts. But it's kind of an interesting thing.
We changed as America changed a lot.
Yeah,
and I can go back and say, when it can go back and say integration to schools, mixing the colors with black people, white people going to school each other, learning each other, it made it a lot easier to understand cultures. Because when I went to school, when I was going to school, blacks sound like blacks and the whites sound like whites. But when I went to when I got bused in Tranford, by the time I got to my 10th grade in school, every white person sounded like they were black, and every black person sounded like they were white. And I'm like, hold on, what the heck is going on here?
Huh.
I'm like, this is a transfer or something. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, then it hit me like, oh, okay. Now I understand, by doing that, they integrated two colors together, and now we see each other in a different light than back in the 70s, 60s and stuff like that.
And
so,
a lot of racism and things like that can be tamed, at least, if not completely squelched, just by, bringing those things together,
Right.
It's an understanding. When
Right.
you don't understand something, it's kind of like we talk about, if we're going to get like sci-fi sort of, like an alien from outer space, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't understand them, you're probably going to assume that they're weird or they're wrong or they're different or whatever, and you're probably going to be defensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh shit, because of the movies and the novels and things but as soon as you integrate, you maybe get more like in the Star Wars mentality where you have the cantina with everybody in it and nobody looks strange at anyone else, even though they have like a ball sack for a chin, it's just kind of like a normal thing where, it's the same idea on a different level. We're all human beings, so we share that, but we do look different. And there was a time in our history, and unfortunately not very distant history, where if you were in the same school as me, people would be like, what the fuck?
Right.
If you were in the same pool as me, people would say, absolutely not.
Right.
But now we can sit here, we can break bread, we can, and nobody bats an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And that's obviously the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. It could be better, but I mean, this is good now. That's why when you said the difference is the difference that you can watch the Crosby and this and that, because you can see black doctors as being a doctor. You can see the family dynamics. You can understand the family dynamics. You can understand this and that. Fresh Prince. Who wouldn't understand somebody coming from the slums, living with a rich uncle, and becoming something different? We all understand these things now. So it's not about color all the time, but it's about the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yep. So do you have anything else about the film that you want to get into? I was going to get into some of our takeaways after the fact.
Go ahead, brother Jeff.
Oh, appreciate that. How did you feel after watching this when it was over and or as you were watching? What kind of feelings were you getting? What'd you think of it?
I thought just brought back some childhood nostalgic. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the way everything was portrayed. The way they did this film, like you said, when they did all the cuts and slices of everyone, all these different movies, putting them together, making them a whole. And they did it right. They did a good job at that.
Yeah.
They did a fantastic job at that. But
go ahead.
Another one of the number one takeaways is the music, man.
Oh my gosh.
The music, and to this day,
so good.
It's still down. I mean, people can like Marvin Gaye.
Isaac Hayes.
Isaac Hayes, the man. Come on now.
Hey, you sit there playing with your shirt off.
Right. Playing with the shirt with chainmail on, Yeah. They went through it. I keep telling you, when they got down, they got deep into it and they played it and stuff. I mean, I challenge anybody to go out there and listen to some of this music and tell me if you don't like it. I don't care what color you are, where you from.
Or at least that you don't get some sort of emotional reaction to it.
Everybody loves that. Let's get it on.
Yeah. How do you not?
Oh, you not like that? Come on now.
I thought it was a super respectful film. Hopefully to me, it felt like it was empowering, to the Black community and where they've come and how much further they can go when it comes to cinema. It told the story of Black cinema very well, very succinct. It was a little bit longer documentary, but I don't think it drug on or anything like that.
Right.
They did touch on some of the more problematic films that have been made. with appropriation and blatant racism and things like that. But the film overall had a very empowering feel to it. It was, this is where we came from and this is where we are. And I think it just kind of decided to focus on the real pivot between blacks being portrayed as, you know, subhuman almost to being portrayed as the hero.
Right.
And that was a big turning point in culture to where black people are finally seeing themselves represented as the hero.
Right. And that's a good thing.
And even not just the hero, but also sometimes seeing, there was one film that they mentioned, and I can't remember what it was. I'm awful with the names of these, but where the main antagonist, the main bad guy, was a big Hollywood actor who had played the good guy a lot. So it was a nice kind of juxtaposition to switch those things and go and let people think these are actors. Right. You know, these are people who can play different roles. You don't have the good guy doesn't always have to be the white male. You know, it can be the black male or the black female or you know, somebody who doesn't look like you, and it can still be a very enjoyable movie. Right. You agree with all that? You have anything to add to that?
I agree with all that. Even the Bali, they got a lady that plays Quantum, I think it is. She's a star in the Bali movie scene, and she plays a FBI agent that has been set up. And I'm watching it right now on what's it called, Prime Video. So you can probably check that out. I got the name all jacked up, but still, I'm just, you know, I really like this show, and I really like how the different races and how they portray them and how they switched up on them and how black people are able to see heroic instead of seeing, yeah, whoa, what we gonna do today? Yeah, okay, you know, that dumb stuff. You know, it all has its place.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so
well, and even it, you know, even just, you know, part of why we enjoy films and cinema, it's not always, sometimes it's a good look into the real lives of a culture or a people or whatever, but other times it's fantasy. Right. But you also want to see, I mean, what is a film? I think they even mentioned it in here. A film is is my dreams brought to reality. Right. You know, and if I don't see myself in that, it's not going to impact me the same way, you know, which is representation. It's like, well, I'm not ever going to go be an assassin of thousands of hitmen and, you know, but I like watching the John Wick movies because, you know, it's fun to watch on screen, and
I love some John Wick myself.
Right. But also it's fun to watch, oh no, the name's going to slip. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fun to watch movies like, you know, Blade or something like that.
Oh, yeah, Blade.
Where you're not a vampire. You're not, you know, but it is representation, you know, with Wesley Snipes, which I heard he's kind of asshole in that movie. But
he probably is.
Yeah. Anyway.
What's the other movie? Samuel Jackson pissed me off in that movie. Django, was it?
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained. Oh, my. Sorry about that, guy.
That's all right.
The other movie, what's the movie? Django Unchained. That was the one. Samuel Jackson. Oh my God, I ain't never been so mad at somebody in my life. He played the best slave guy.
Yeah.
In the world. What's the gonna do? What's this nigga up here for?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, hold on, what did he just say?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
you know,
and there's
a villain black and a hero black at the same time.
Yep.
And the music, man.
No one does it better, man.
Right. Samuel Jackson's the man.
Yeah. I remember there was a kind of a famous quote now that from when he was making that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, where Leo was like supposed to say the N-word a lot and with a hard R, you know, and he was like, I can't do it. And Sam Jackson was like, come on, man. This is just a normal Tuesday for us. Like, don't just say the words and let's get it over with. It's like, that's such a interesting way to look at it. He didn't go up to him and be like, look, it's okay, brother. Like, you know, I understand you're just acting. He said, say what you got to say. It's the line.
Right. Just do it.
This is just a normal Tuesday for us. We're used to hearing it. Just let's do it.
Exactly.
It's like, that's such a like different way to view it, but also super cool. I mean, there doesn't get, again, it doesn't get much cooler than him. As far as being well made, I think this documentary was super sharp. I don't think that we've seen such smart editing and like smoothest storytelling in a documentary yet that we've covered. I think this was just super smooth. That they got a lot of films, a lot of information in, and it didn't feel choppy.
Right. Exactly. Same here.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go out and watch some more of these movies, rewatch them.
I want to see a lot of these. Let's watch them, man.
Yeah, I'm just gonna check it out.
All right. Tell me which one you're watching next, and I'll watch it with you.
I'm going to watch. Let's watch Coffee.
Oh yeah,
check that out.
Let's see if it's on a streaming service somewhere.
Yep, we gotta check that one out.
So what was the message here? What do you think they were trying, that Elvis Mitchell was trying to tell his viewers?
I think the message here on this whole deal was basically the movement of the Black movie and theatrical actions throughout the whole thing. How they started one part, how they use slapstick, how they use different methods to achieve the goal in the movies, to bring Black film up into the mainstream. That's what I think this was basically a lot about.
So you think that this was just basically historical documentation?
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Combined.
I got the impression that, you know, representation and the importance of it. I mean, along with the historical the historical documentation of these films, to me, it was how important it is to represent everybody in some way, you know, because that's how you reach your audience. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree with that.
You can disagree, man. It's all right.
I agree with that because, you know, it's both parts of that. It's what I said and what you said combined.
Yeah.
So this is both part of, you know, that's some solid stuff right there. You know what I'm saying, baby?
Don't call me baby.
Yeah, you got to dig on that bag. You know what I'm saying? I love those little sayings.
Yeah.
Ooh, a matter of fact, I'm going to try to say, I'm going to look up, I'm going to listen to some films, pull out the sayings and start to use them.
Yeah, you should.
Terrence use them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they be like, what are you talking about, man? And Terrence be like, never your mind.
Never your mind.
Never your mind. Forget it. Let's get back to work.
All right, so let's get into ratings for Is That Black Enough For You?
Is that black enough for you?
Every week, we rate our documentary with an official documentary rating. Each crew member scores the documentary on a scale of 1 to 10 items, with 1 being as bad as a Mickey Mouse minstrel show and 10 being as cool as Shaft being a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
The item that is used each week changes depending on the content of the documentary. This week, we will be using symbiocytotoxoplasms as our rating item.
I'm not going to say that.
So go ahead and give it a try.
Symbiocytotoxoplasms. Symbiocytotoxoplasm.
There you go. For some reference, that was the name of one of the movies they mentioned in the film. But symbiocytotoxoplasms as our rating item. So let's start with James. James, how many symbiocytotoxoplasms did you give?
I gave it 7.
7 what?
7. Stop. Oh,
7. You gave it 7 what?
7. I gave it 7.
Symbiocytotoxoplasms.
Symbiocytotoxoplasms. Symbiocytotoxoplasms. I gave it 7 symbiocytotoxoplasms.
Oh my God. Why 7?
7 because I was hoping that it would be it explained the whole Black film stuff, but I was expecting that it would play like the whole clips of some movies. It'd be more in depth. I want to hear more. I want to see more of the movies playing because I grew up watching them. I wanted to see more of the Shaft, because they had so much to put in it, so they had to clip it back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
But
So
I want to see more of the movie.
So you
clips.
feel like this probably would have scored a little higher if it hadn't breezed through them so quickly.
Right. It would score a lot higher.
Yeah. And just to play devil's advocate on that one, it would have been a long movie had they played
a long movie.
A long documentary. But I gave this 8 symbiocycotaxiplasms. I thought this was really fun. And I think if I had seen some of these movies, more of these movies, it probably would have hit me differently. Obviously, coming at this as a white man who did not see these, it's not, maybe not as nostalgic as it was for you, but for me, it was so much fun to be able to see into a world that I kind of didn't know was there, so that was fun. I gave it 8. I thought it was really well made. I love most of, if not all of the actors and people that they had on giving their opinions and whatnot. We didn't talk about Harry Belafonte at all in this.
Oh no,
he played a big part in this. But anyway,
how he actually, I'm gonna add that in there too now. How he actually stopped filming.
Yeah,
he stopped filming for
a long time.
Like a protest kind of like type thing, and everybody he was the man for just doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And you got on that just shows you how deep that they didn't want to play the slapstick regular people. He wanted some real content, some real stuff. So that was his protest.
Until I get something that I feel like is going to be a good representation and a good role, then I'm out.
Right. And I thought that was pretty cool. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, it was. It's a bold movement, especially if acting is your job.
Right. Acting is your job, and you're already at that time have a smaller, kind of opportunities. Mm-hmm. And you're saying, no, I'm not going to even take the small ones because it's not what I want. That's bold. It's brave.
That is.
It's a risk.
Yep.
And it paid off for him in some ways. So anyway, after averaging everyone's scores together, the two of us, the official documentary rating for Is That Black Enough For Ya is 7.5 symbiocycotaxiplasms.
Taxiplasms.
Symbiocycotaxiplasm.
Symbiocycotaxiplasm, baby.
Here, you can have a symbiocycotaxiplasm.
That's right. Because you know what? Only thing I got with me, man, is some bubble gum and a hard time, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Another phrase in there.
So there's a famous line from a film called They Live where Roddy Piper says a line very similar to that. He says, I come to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. I didn't realize, because I'm pretty sure that film you just mentioned was well before that. And I didn't realize that was basically stolen straight from that. Like, come on, give credit where credit's due, guys.
Right. We all know. We know where Elvis got his stuff from.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know John Travolta got his stuff from. We know.
Yep.
But hey, it's all good.
Yep. Here we are
today.
Here we are in this year and all the symbiocycotaxiplasm.
Okay.
The
Sacky-tacky, whatever.
So, all of our listeners out there, thank you for joining James and I on this one-on-one episode of Talkumentary. I want you to know that I'd cast you in my film any day.
Same here, man.
You'd be the shirtless cowboy riding on top of some like unicorn or some shit.
No. We can cut that out right now. I'll be riding on the back of a tiger or something like that, but a unicorn
or a tiger would be riding on your back.
That'd be the case. He won't be riding. It'd be dinner.
Let's talk about next week's episode. Next week, we have a very special episode that consists of some of my favorite people in the world, full of guest stars. my lovely Lady Bird will return to join us and her two brothers, my brothers-in-law. We're going to do a deep dive into the magical world of mushrooms in a beautiful documentary called Fantastic Fungi. That is a documentary that uses stunning time-lapse photography and a wealth of research and knowledge. This documentary explores the mysterious and medicinal world of fungi and their power to heal, sustain, and contribute to the regeneration of our world. James, have you seen that one or heard of it?
Yes.
You watched it?
Twice.
Dude.
Man.
It's good.
It is good. I watched it twice. Matter of fact, may have watched it 3 times.
Yeah. The filming in that is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, I can't wait for the world to meet my brothers-in-law because they are they're fun. So that's going to be good. Everyone, please go out and check out the documentary Fantastic Fungi before next week's episode. It can be streamed on Netflix. So like I said, join us. We're going to put on our weird brown mushroom-shaped hats. We're going to take a few doses of psilocybin, and we're going to hang out with a couple fun guys and one fun girl, one documentary at a time. Go out, James, and you rate and review our podcast. Give us a share on your social media. Let us know what you think of our show. All right?
All right. That's what I'll do.
Come on, man. You can also connect with us on social media with Talkumentary Podcast, or you can email us info.talkumentary@gmail.com on behalf of King James, baby.
King James.
DJ, who's in the post-production booth. I am your host, Jeff Kolaski. I want to thank you all for listening. I hope you keep your minds open and be kind to each other. James, give us something before. Give us some 70s. Hit us with something. Come on.
Who's the man that would risk his neck for his brother?
King James.
Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about?
King James.
Right on. They say that cat,
King James,
is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
I'm talking about
King James.
Right on.
Right on.
We out of here.
Talkumentary, motherfucker.
Talkumentary cats.
It ain't, but it's gonna be.
Yeah, is that black enough for you?